Typically, each house is 30 degrees. But this is a rule that we will discuss in greater detail as we go on to the more advanced aspects of our conversation. But for now, just understand that each house is 30 degrees. And in each house is placed a zodiac sign. I had told you that there is house number 1, house number 2, house number 3, house number 4, house number 5, and so on. But the zodiac sign that is rising in the east at the time of birth, relative to the place of birth of the individual, will be placed in house number 1. For example, if Libra is rising in the east at the moment of your birth relative to your place of birth, then Libra goes into house number 1. Libra becomes the sign that is placed in your ascendant. And if Libra is placed in the ascendant, then house number 2 will have Scorpio, house number 3 will have Sagittarius, and so on. It follows a cyclic pattern. If you have, for example, Gemini, which is rising in the east at the time of your birth, relative to your place of birth, then you will have Gemini in house number 1. You will have Cancer in house number 2. You will have Leo in house number 3. You will have Virgo in house number 4. You will have Libra in house number 5. You will have Scorpio in house number 6, and so on. So you see, we go in the exact order, but that order depends on which sign is in the ascendant at the time of our birth. Let's take the example of, let's say, Cancer. Cancer, sign number 4, is in your ascendant at the time of your birth. Cancer is owned by the planet Moon. Each zodiac sign is ruled by a very specific planet. I told you that there are 9 planets of Indian astrology, but there are 12 zodiac signs. So how does that work? We all know a little bit about what these zodiac signs are, because they're very popular in Western astrology. And if you're following my channel, if you're following my page, then it's obvious that you have some sort of interest in astrology, and you would probably know what these zodiac signs are and what they represent and who rules them. But I want to tell you that there are 7 planets that rule 12 zodiac signs, because some planets own 2 signs. Most planets own 2 signs. Sun and Moon own only 1 sign. Sun owns Leo, Moon owns Cancer. Apart from that, Mercury owns 2 signs, Gemini and Virgo. Mars owns 2 signs, Aries and Scorpio. Venus owns 2 signs, Libra and Taurus. And there are 2 planets that we give a lot of importance to in Indian astrology, Vedic astrology, that don't own any signs. These 2 planets are Rahu and Ketu. Now, these are not planets that you can track in the cosmos. They are not planets that exist in space that can be seen by a telescope. These are shadow planets that have very, very great importance in Vedic astrology. They can't be seen in the sky, but they have probably the greatest control over the horoscope in Vedic astrology. When we speak of the planets, I'll tell you more about that. But Rahu and Ketu do not own any zodiac sign, because Rahu and Ketu do not exist in the cosmos as we understand it. So I've told you that all planets own 2 signs, except Sun and Moon that own only 1. and Rahu and Ketu, which are two very important planets of Indian astrology, do not own any sign at all. Now, coming back to our original point. The zodiac sign that is placed in the ascendant becomes the sign in the lagna, and the lord of that sign becomes our lagnesh. It becomes the lord of our lagna, it becomes our ascendant lord. Now, what is the ascendant lord? The ascendant lord represents us. It is the most important planet in the horoscope. I am my ascendant lord. If Saturn is my ascendant lord, then Saturn in the horoscope represents me. How that Saturn is positioned, how it is placed, whom it is placed with, what are the good energies upon it, what are the bad energies upon it, how is it likely to function, these are the things that are going to have the greatest impact in determining the sort of life that I will live. And if we were speaking of Cancer right at the start, if Cancer is placed in sign number 1, Moon becomes my Lagna Lord, it becomes my Lagnesh. Sign number 5 goes into house number 2. Sign number 6 goes into house number 3. Sign number 7 goes into house number 4. Sign number 8 goes into house number 5. Sign number 9 goes into house number 6. Sign number 10 goes into house number 7. Sign number 11 into house number 8. Sign number 12 into house number 9. Sign number 1 into house number 10. Sign number 2 into house number 11. Sign number 3 into house number 12, and that's how our cycle is completed. So for a Cancer ascendant, Sun becomes the lord of wealth, bank balance, kutumb. Mercury becomes the lord of public relations, public dealing, name and fame. Libra 7, Venus becomes the lord of the 4th house, representing the mother, movable and immovable assets, the place of residence, and also the 4th house is the Sukhasthan. It speaks of the extent and degree of happiness that you will experience in your life. This is different from satisfaction. This is happiness. And we go to house number 5, which has sign number 8 in it, which is Scorpio, ruled by Mars. Therefore, Mars represents luck, romance, education. I told you some of these houses speak of good elements, some of these houses speak of bad elements. Just understand one rule. House number 1, house number 5, and house number 9. These are the 3 most favorable houses in a horoscope. The lord of the zodiac sign that is positioned in house number 1, house number 5, and house number 9 becomes the owner of house number 1, 5, and 9, and becomes, these planets are the most favorable planets of the horoscope. House number 4, 7, and 10 are known as quadrant houses. These are the Kendra Sthan, Kendra houses. These are also believed to be very favorable. So the lord of the zodiac sign that is positioned in house number 4, 7, and 10, these planets become favorable for the chart. Now, house number 3, house number 6, house number 8, house number 11, and house number 12. These are the difficult spaces, these are the difficult spots of the horoscope. The lord of the zodiac sign placed in the 3rd house, 6th house, 8th house, 11th house, and 12th house. The lord of the zodiac sign positioned in these houses, these planets become unfavorable for the chart. They become the enemy of the horoscope. They become the enemies of our success, well-being, happiness, fulfillment, and contentment. There are very interesting rules related to how planets function in different houses, and I will come to that because this is going to be a very long conversation. We're going to have to do this over very many different segments because it's not possible to learn astrology in a 10-minute, 15-minute video, of course. I've been trying for 25 years. I still don't know very much. So I'll speak of these special elements later, but for now, just understand that house number 1, 5, and 9, these are the good houses. Lord of 4, 7, and 10, also very favorable planets for the horoscope. And the lords of the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, and 12th houses. These are the bad guys. These are the enemies. These are the ones bringing trouble into our lives.